small piece of what BNI does. I remember Pam and Bill telling me a story some years ago about, was it Columbia, South Carolina? Your daughter had moved to Columbia and needed some work done at her house, and so they went into BNI Connect to find somebody in BNI, because we also operate on a code of ethics in BNI. And it's comforting to know that we have standards. Accountability is a core value in BNI. You know, and a lot of people see accountability as a punitive thing. You know, people think, oh, okay, accountability, something went wrong, who are we gonna blame? Okay? It's not, you laugh, right? You know, are you familiar with that? No, it's not. Accountability. Okay, so if you think accountability is negative, may I suggest to you a series of books called, one of them called The Oz Principle, which is really about the definition of accountability as taking personal ownership for the results that you want to get. Because the bottom line is that the only person who owns, if I want to lose 20 pounds, my husband can't go on a diet for me. Okay, I got to dig in and get it done, right? So basically, we need to do the things we need to do to be successful. So accountability is built into BNI because we know that if we can help you reach your goals, and sometimes a little friction is not such a bad thing. I mean, I need accountability in my life. I need somebody to call me and say, hey, did you do X? You know, I've got my goals and I'm working toward them, and I'm a pretty driven person. Some people who've known me for a really long time and apparently love me a lot bought me this cup for Christmas last year. So I tend to be somebody who likes to get things done and get results. But I still need help sometimes because we all get into bad habits and get off track a little bit. Another great core value of BNI is traditions plus innovation. So the traditions are, the BNI agenda operates the same in 80 countries around the world, no matter where you go. One of our members was in China last year, and he sent us a picture of himself at a meeting in China with a couple of the members, which was really cool. Because no matter where you go around the world, even if you don't speak the language, the same thing is happening at the meeting, and you can follow along because the agenda is the same. And the purpose for that is so that we can structure the process of getting business done. But every chapter has its own culture as far as the members and the way they embrace Givers Gain. But on the traditions plus innovation side, traditions is what BNI was founded on, but we know we have to innovate if we want to stay relevant. So Kristen brought up one of our most amazing innovations, which is BNI Connect. So although we believe that face-to-face networking is never going away, right? You guys hear me say this all the time. I don't care what this generation tells you, this is not relationship building, okay? If I want to build a relationship with somebody, I have to be visible and in proximity to them. But BNI Connect offers an innovation that allows you to plug into resources around the country and around the world, which is really cool. So, you know, I have a very similar story when it comes to BNI. Some of you guys know I was working in corporate America. It's been over 10 years now that I moved to Charlotte, but I went through, you know, I divorced my husband, quit my job, changed my name, and left the state of Maryland within about a 60-day period. And I called my mentor and I was like, okay, now what? She's like, go join BNI. So, never heard of it. I Googled it. I found the chapter that I originally joined in South Park over 12 years ago. And I stand before you today just as a living testimony that BNI works. And I've got relationships in BNI that go all the way back to when I first joined. So, but I started out in the same place, visibility. I had to get to know people. But once you move into credibility and you develop your credibility, the momentum really picks up from here, and ultimately where you're going is the P, profitability. And then those relationships become mutually beneficial, and you start to have a steady stream of income as a result of your membership in BNI. So to Rachel's point earlier, $22,000 since January. The average seat value in our groups right now is somewhere around $40,000 a year. Some are slightly less, some are exponentially more. We've got one over in Charlotte, the average seat value is $71,000. And that's a function of the level of engagement and the quality of people that they have surrounded themselves with in that group. And we know unapologetically, because we have really high standards, because accountability is a core value, because we keep score, positive attitude's a core value in BNI, you know, we want to hang out with people that are driven. I like to joke a lot of times with our members that the only thing we need from you today is your A game. okay? So that's all we need, your A game. And if everybody brings their A game to this process, believe me when I say that the results speak for themselves and the process works. So just to give you some numbers, as far as chapters go, a chapter of about 25 members will pass roughly 60 to 80 referrals a month. Our minimum critical mass is 25 for that reason. We know that if we are going to help you reach your business goals and achieve the revenue goals that you have for yourself, we need to help you build a great referral team. And so the minimum critical mass for that is 25 people. And anecdotally, we know that that's true because we've been keeping score for over 30 years. And as you add 10 more people to the group, it's what we call the triple double rule. Basically, you add 10 members, you double the size of your group and triple the number of referrals that you pass. When you get to 30, you're at about 150 to 180 referrals. Where we really want people to get is 40 or more, 300 to 350 referrals a month. And the average seat value pushes $50,000 at that point. So that's really what we're building. It's hard to see that when we're sitting around talking about all these numbers and statistics. And Dr. Meisner likes to say, you know, facts tell and stories sell. And so it's the stories that we have in BNI. You know, Guy has an incredible journey that he's been on too, and I might have told this story last week. You know, when he was in New Mexico and bought his Avis franchise, the enterprise guy came over and said, hey, we need to get to know each other. And Guy said, why would I want to get to know you? You're my competition. And he said, well, no, actually, we need to develop a referral relationship because Enterprise doesn't do one-way rentals, and Avis does. Enterprise doesn't do cash rentals, and Avis does. Enterprise doesn't do several other things that Avis does. So I would like to be able to send you potential clients that aren't a good fit for me because ultimately we'll develop that reciprocity. And a lot of times, even if it's not a great fit for that client right at this moment, and you do something really amazing for them and hook them up with a great resource, there's every possibility that they'll come back to you another time when they need something and it will work out. So it's just being in that mindset of helping people is really what the process is. So for those of you who are visiting with us, I just want to run through some of the information that you might have in your folder and the application information so that if this is something that you find interesting, we can walk you through the process of how you might choose to engage with this group. And hopefully everybody's got their application, and I'll just run through it really quickly so that you have the information you need to make a well-informed decision. Does everybody have, all our visitors, everybody have an application?